Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at the 1973 Volkswagen Super Beetle. The Super Beetle was very unique to the Beetle lineup and featured a McPherson strut front end for enhanced drivability, revised front styling, and a little bit of increased practicality. But more on that as we go through the video. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Super Beetle. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip and go over the performance data, take it on a brief test drive, and show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. And today I'm at my family's dealership, Car Connections Incorporated, as well as the official store and location of Sopkala 4 LLC, located in Reidsville, North Carolina. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. It's a bright yellow exterior with a full black vinyl interior. Fantastic. You gotta love that low, deep growl of a classic Volkswagen engine. Overall, the Beetle is a very simple vehicle to operate. It does come with power steering, as well as power brakes, but up front, just your necessary speedometer, fuel level, odometer, and a couple warning lights. And standard and only transmission available is a 4-speed manual gearbox. Push down, all the way over, down for reverse, with a wood shift knob and the unique Volkswagen crest. And we're going to flip on the headlamps, as well as the hazards. Naturally, all the windows are manual. And we're going to check out the exterior, shall we? The original Volkswagen Type 1, later known as the Beetle, was originally designed and produced in the 1930s. While mass production didn't start until the 1940s, the original design stayed tried and true and varied very little over the next 20 or so years aside from cosmetic updates. It was always powered by a rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, air-cooled boxer 4-cylinder that featured 2 doors and a boot for the front. Over its long history, many special editions and variants such as convertibles helped keep great variety and selection to the customer. Its immense popularity spurred the development of other VW models down the road, such as the popular VW Bus and Karmann Ghia for examples. The original design is very simple. The body is attached to a nearly flat chassis with central tunnel by 18 bolts. The suspension was independent but featured dated torsion beams in the front and rear. By the late 1960s, the Beetle was one of the most popular cars in America, selling over 1 million units per year. During its long history, other automakers also began to learn VW's tricks by bringing a car with low cost, plenty of room, and fuel economy. Therefore, the Beetle began to be surpassed by innovative, new and more modern vehicles from Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota. They were able to blend practicality and value that the Beetle is famous for, but expand upon it at a cheaper cost. Therefore, the Beetle was slowly falling behind the times as its standard platform became outdated. Plans were then brought forth to develop a new Beetle model designated the 1302 Super Beetle that would first appear in 1970. The vehicle was to provide more luggage space, greater overall utility, and passenger comfort. The development of the Super Beetle was the most extensive, thorough, and expensive revision of the Beetle since it was first introduced. Never before had VW put so much effort in overhauling the car. Just about every aspect of the front end, from the panels to the windshield design, was redesigned to maximize cargo space, but more on that later. The McPherson strut front suspension is what really sets it apart. It eliminated the torsion beams up front, increased the handling, and also helped improve cargo space. Side louvers were also placed behind the side glass to bring in more fresh air into the interior, while in 1972 the rear window was increased by 11% to give more rearward visibility. But that's not it. In 1973, the Super Beetle saw further revisions, later designated 1303, and included mainly some safety innovations such as a collapsible steering wheel, as well as a curved windshield that gave 42% more visibility, a more open interior, and better aerodynamics. Also, a Beetle first, a new padded dash was introduced that later was designated to incorporate proposed airbags and improve the interior ventilation. Overall length is 163 inches with a width of 62.4 inches and a height of 59.1 inches. Total curb weight for the Super Beetle is around 1,984 pounds. The 73 Super Beetle came standard with a carbureted 1600cc air-cooled boxer 4-cylinder producing 46 horsepower at 4,000 RPM and 81.7 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 RPM. 0 to 60 times are around 19.5 seconds with a top speed of 81 miles per hour. Average miles per gallon was around 25, and the new engine featured dual-port cylinder heads for better performance. Also, over the years, more louvers around the engine cover helped improve ventilation, while an external oil cooler was added for increased cooling. Overall, the interior of the Beetle is very simple, just featuring some of the basic amenities. Padded vinyl panels coming across the door, with your manual controls and a little bit of storage, as well as manual side vents. The seats are also basic design for an economy car, manually adjustable with modest padding, as well as a fixed steering wheel. So let's go and see if she sounds. And we're going to shut her up. Beautifully tight doors, nice seal, especially for 1973. So let's go and take her for a quick test drive. The Beetle's definitely not what you would call a fast car. I mean, the 1600cc engine, it's really just basic transportation, good fuel economy, but other than that, it's not really a top performer. Just enough to be a little peppy vehicle for going through city travels. And with the Super Beetle's McPherson strut front suspension, it definitely helps it handle a little bit better. It takes a little while to get used to. The gearbox isn't exactly what you would call precise. go ahead and take it on a brief highway run. That's probably about 58 miles an hour or so. Nice and straight, still pretty smooth. It is an older car, so it's not going to be completely precise as a newer car would be, but definitely a lot easier driving than you'd expect. It definitely surprised me, to say the least, when I first drove it. Now, there really isn't a whole lot to the interior. The Beetle just basically came with a very simple radio. This one's obviously been upgraded to a modern CD player, but it was just an AM/FM unit. Down below are your heater controls, ashtray, fasten seatbelt light and gearbox pattern, as well as your rear window defroster next to your hazard control. Down below is your fuse box. And a little bit of interior illumination. Your climate control levers for your heater are located down below here, where you can adjust the temperature, as well as change it to defrost and the like. Your seat adjustment is here for sliding back and forth. But really, that's about it. Like I said, very simple. Go ahead and shut her down. And we're going to check out the back seat. In order to gain access, there's little levers on each of the seats. Right here, just pull up, flip forward. Now I'm about 5'10", and the back seat room really isn't as bad as you would think. I mean, there's essentially not a lot of leg room if this seat is laid back all the way, and my hair is just barely grazing the ceiling, but there's a lot of open space here that you can kind of spread your arms out a little bit. You do have some little mini ashtrays in the back, grip handles to ease entry and exit, as well as some coat hooks. There's also a bit of storage space in the back as well. And we'll go check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? In order to release the boot up front, you just have to take this little toggle switch, push it all the way down to unlock it. Every little tidbit of the Beetle had to be completely thought out to try to maximize cargo space. The jack was moved to under the rear seat, while the vacuum wiper system was moved to the inner fender. Thanks to the McPherson strut front suspension, the spare tire for the first time was able to be mounted horizontally. This gave the Beetle around 9 cubic feet of cargo space, up 86% from the standard car. Same manual adjustments for the passenger seat. And a 2-tier glove box. Kind of cluttered at the moment, but kind of get the picture. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this detailed look at the 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.